The defect in the white line is right there. Once again, however, the lesion is up above. Welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Now you might think because we've hit fluid that soon that this sole is not very thick, but you're going to see we can work our way down quite a ways yet. Now the same path that the bacteria use to get in is the same path that the fluid will try to work its way out. In this case, because I hit it so early, I figured this was going to be a very small area of separation under here, so you can see I'm working right around that area very closely. However, that's not going to be the case. There's much more separation than I think there's going to be. So now, block's in place. I figure I'm just going to work around this edge here and open up this little area, and that'll be it. But once I start to go here, I can tell there's much more than I thought. So what's the significance of misreading how much separation was going to be there? Well, nothing really, except that I wouldn't have put that block on quite yet because it kind of gets in my way as I'm working my knife work there, trying to get this separation out of the way. I figured I'm just going to have a little bit of work to do. I'll get that block on and we can move on. However, as I start to work, I can see that this is going to extend much further, so now I just have to work around the block. It's not a big deal. It's just easier if it wasn't there. So I guess the next obvious question is what causes a hoof to have a lot of separation and what causes a hoof to have very little separation? Well, that comes down to how long that lesion's been there, how much fluid was inside there, things like that as far as how much hoof horn could potentially separate. Now in this case, as you noticed when I first started trimming, I hit fluid right away when I started, which tells me that that fluid was working its way out toward me, meaning I didn't really think there was going to be that much separation. And this is a very fresh one, so I thought likely it's going to be limited separation, hence why I put that block on when I did. However, that wasn't the case. That extra fluid in there was working its way out. It just hadn't made its way all the way out the top yet. But the separation, well, it nearly does. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this hoof was actually really clean on the inside. This is probably one of those instances where I could get away with not using the salicylic acid powder just because that chlorhexidine would have done the job that I needed it to, being as it was as clean as it was.